Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It is the Positively Awesome Wrestling Podcast, and it is yours truly, King Jimmy Baby. I am joined by Albert right here below me. Albert, how have you been doing?
Doing all right, man. Hanging in there. Had a pretty good week. Good, fun week of wrestling. Can't complain.
Absolutely. And we are also joined by the returning Tidey. Everybody give him a round of applause. Tidey has returned. The triad has been realigned, and we can get this show back on its track or its trajectory where we need to go. Tidey, how have you been? Round of applause for you. You're back, buddy. I'm so happy.
Man. Besides all the personal stuff of taking some time off and doing things, man, I watched wrestling this week. I was so happy with some of the stuff I saw. It's been a really good week. I had a lot of beers. I had a lot of other things. Saw some good movies. And I'm just happy to sit here and talk with you again about some wrestling.
Absolutely. And we're glad you're back too. We have missed you, bud. Missed you big time. We got Amanda up in the chat. What up, Amanda? She said the connection is looking great. That's good because I still don't have my other hard line. This one's still boo-boo and broken, but we're gonna make it work. Cameron back in the chat. What up, Cameron? How you doing today, bud? Man, first and foremost, before we even get into the wrestling talk, we were talking about before the show even started. I'm going to bring it up again because this is a Barbie world we're living in right now. And if you haven't gone and watched it yet, you need to go and watch it. And if you're going to complain about it, I don't want to hear about it. Go away. I don't know if you're not my kind of people. But y'all need to go watch the Barbie movie because it's fantastic. And if you don't, I'm going to come beat you off. That's all I'm going to say. Beat you off. I'm going to come beat you off. That's all I'm going to say to that. But now we can get Albert's confused. You will know what I'm talking about.
The only person here who hasn't seen the movie, apparently, I missed something.
You will know exactly what I'm talking about. You're gonna laugh even harder now. You're welcome.
All right.
First and foremost, I know this is Positively Awesome Wrestling, and I talk about the stuff we love. And for the most part, you know what? No, I do love Dom. So it's not a complete lie when I say that it's positive. But man, Dom is the North American champion, everybody. Dom main evented Raw. He main evented NXT. He main evented SmackDown. Dom boosted the NXT overall ratings by like 70,000 if you're a ratings guy. And overall, I think he was at like an 840 for his quarter, which is just, I think only Seth Rollins had a bigger quarter in the past year for NXT. Dom's a legit draw at this point. He's a champion. He got Rhea at his side. He got Judgment Day at his back. There's nobody better right now overall. Don't give me this. I'm not talking about in-ring stuff for the people out there. Listen, there's nobody that's like more success other than Roman Reigns. Dom's like living on top. Who has it better than Dom right now other than Roman? And Roman, man, let's be honest, Roman's is crumbling. So I'm going to ask you, I want both y'all's opinions on this. Who right now is like more made in the shade than Dominik Mysterio in the world of professional wrestling? I'm very curious because I can't think of anybody right now.
I just know LA Knight's got a lot of support behind him as he should.
Oh, he's part of the tirade. Well, not a tirade. It's not a tirade. I'm not going to get angry. But LA Knight's part of my whole little shtick I'm about to get into. But
ooh, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's very short. It's very small, but it's there. LA Knight is on his way up though. He's definitely on his way up. What up, Court? Court is in the chat.
Hey, Courtney.
Lou, my man Lou, back in the chat. What up, Lou? Dirty Dom. But he says LA Knight. Albert, what about you? Is there anybody right now that's living larger than Dominik Mysterio in the world?
You mentioned Roman. The only other act as of right now that I think is anywhere near as hot as Dom is Adam Cole and MJF. Other than that, that's it. Like there's like the three hottest acts in wrestling right now are Adam Cole and MJF, the Roman Reigns Bloodline Saga, and Dominik Mysterio.
I will just say again, I'm putting Dom above. I'm not as far as the hottest acts. You're 100% right. I wouldn't put him above it. But as far as like just guys, if we're living in a world of kayfabe and Dom's just living the best life possible, he's got everything going his way, and I love it because it's driving people crazy. So crazy that he got a little backlash for his win this week. It's like, why? I get he's a heel and you're supposed to hate him, but it's like Why are we so mad? Why are people so against this idea of Dominik Mysterio rising the ranks? And before I pass it off, I just want to touch on a few things and get my point across because, again, it's been driving me crazy. I've officially fallen into the realm of like fanboy of Dom. I'll admit it. I don't care. I just really enjoy it. I'm always interested in what's going on. My eyes are glued to the television. I'm invested. So call me a fanboy. Call me Mark. I don't care because I love it. I enjoy it. And hey, I'm happier than you are about it. So I'm laughing at you now. We brought up LA Knight. Okay. Would we say LA Knight is like a great wrestler, or would we say he's a dude who's really over, who's pretty good in the ring? He's okay in the ring.
Yeah, I'd say he's passable.
He's good in the ring. Like there's not shitting on him either. Just so we
nothing bad about it. He's.
I love LA Knight. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But would you? Am I fair? Is that a fair assessment? I just said he's over, but he's not good in the ring. He's good, but he's not like
he's good. No, he's definitely good. He's just not like you're not gonna say
he's not Seth Rollins in the ring. Yeah,
right.
There you go. Okay, so what is the fan base clamoring for as far as LA Knight right now? What does the fan base want for LA Knight?
They want him to
get what he wants. To give him
pushed.
what he wants. And what does LA Knight want? Just give it to him already, because damn it, we love him.
Okay, so he's being pushed. Oh, they want him to be pushed because he's over, not because he's a great wrestler, because he's over. Correct? Y'all agree with this?
Yeah.
Again, it's not like he's lighting the ring on fire. Just
yeah,
he makes us laugh. He's really good, and it's like on the mic, and he's like, "Yeah, push him. He's over. He's over."
I know where you're going with this, and I completely agree. So please.
Okay. So, Dom, would you agree that Dom is on the same level as over as LA Knight, or more so? We don't have to debate whether he's more so or not, but would you agree that he's at least on the same level as LA Knight?
Absolutely.
I think more so, but Tidey,
star power wise, like the way he's presented and what's going on and how entertaining and an attraction that he is, and he's getting more airtime than LA Knight. Let's be clear about that.
He definitely is, but as far as crowd reaction, they're same level, if not more so. Dom more so.
Yeah. I mean, technically in the opposite direction, but yeah.
And so he's over. LA Knight's over. LA Knight, we want to push him to the moon. Dominik Mysterio, we want to hold him down. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
So here's the thing. This is where I'm at. Wrestling fans don't understand what the word push means. They think that if they, it's push LA Knight, that means that LA Knight's got to be in main events. He's got to, he's got to win the U.S. title. He's got to be in, he's got to win all of his matches. That's not what they need to do. They're pushing LA Knight right now. Who's the guy who comes out to the ring with a microphone in his hand? Who's the guy who has the live promo now, when everybody else just got a graphic lit up on their screen? LA Knight is being put in a position where he's going to get cheered more. But if that's the case, which is a great thing, it doesn't need to be like the Rocket doesn't need to be strapped. It doesn't need to be the world champion. He's on your TV every week. That's what you should want. The same as Dom. Dom is on our TV every week, and every week those boos get louder and louder. And you can sit there and say, "Oh, it's just crowd trying to outdo each other." Yeah, they're trying to outdo each other because Dominik Mysterio is in the damn ring. If you guys can't correlate that one and the other is exactly the same, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense.
So where we go? So LA Knight ring skills, right? What I love the most about LA Knight is he got the comparison to The Rock, and then he goes, "Okay, yeah, let me do this little elbow thing now too." He's put that into his rep, and it's like, dude, this guy is trolling the people now who are trying to crap on him, and I love it. I love LA Knight, and again, none of that was to downplay him at all because he is over that rope, push him to the moon. But again, I agree with what you're saying. He is being pushed right now to an extent, and I think he'll get more later. But
absolutely,
my buddy Andy, our buddy Andy on Wrestling Legion was saying this earlier today that like the commentary was putting him over big time. Like they're talking about his the internet numbers that he's getting. He's number 1, 3, and 4 on the merchandise right now. That's insane. Like he's over. He's getting pushed right now slightly. I think they're a little bit hesitant. They want to see if it's a lasting one instead of like just this quick flash in the plan. not plan. And then after SummerSlam, obviously this isn't something that's sticking around. He'll blow up. The biggest thing I saw with Dom this past week is people complaining like he almost killed Wes, or he almost injured Wesley because he dropped him on his head.
He dropped him, yeah.
Okay. But it's a botch. It's a botch. I agree. If Wesley got hurt, there's no reason to celebrate this victory, because that would be horrible. But Wesley's fine. And if we're going to hate on Dominik Mysterio because he's botched a few moves, I got a list here, if you'd like to hear, of wrestlers that we should be complaining about as well. And if you'd like to hear it, I'll gladly spin it out for you.
I would love to.
There was a couple this week. I was watching this week.
Yeah. So. In my opinion, every single wrestling show that's on TV, if you tune it on and you pay enough attention, you're going to see a botch. Some are worse than others. That's just how it is. It's wrestling. It's dangerous. They're going to happen. As long as you learn from them, move on, get better, which Dom has been doing this past year. He's been getting very, very good as opposed to what he was a year ago. And yeah, right here, there you go. Every wrestler, it's true. So it's like, I don't understand why his are so focused on. And it's, again, because people don't like him.
And that's, so here's the thing.
Right there. He is on that list. No, he's not on the list I'm about to say. I'm about to get to the list. I'm going to cut you off, Albert, so I can get the list. And then
please do.
Okay.
Please do.
So, first and foremost, rest in peace. God bless his soul. I mean, no disrespect to anybody on this list. I'm literally just pointing out that botches happen. And all these people are fantastic, all but one. But all these people are fantastic, trained professional wrestlers who, let me look at it real quick. Almost all of them are Hall of Famers. So I'm not like shitting on them. Because again, I am of the understanding that botches happen. It is what it is. Again, God bless, rest in peace, all that. Owen Hart broke Stone Cold's neck on a botch. And hey, we're cool. We're cool with Owen Hart, though. And that's fine because you should be. Owen Hart was fantastic, 100%. D'Lo Brown ended Droz' career when he paralyzed him. When we talk about European champion, the best European champions of all time, D'Lo Brown is at the top of that list. And if he's not at the top of your list, be gone. I don't want to hear, because D'Lo Brown was fantastic and he was awesome. Nick Gage, this is the one I don't consider really on the same level as everyone else, but in the deathmatch world, he is kind of big shit, top dog, and there is, I guess, a form to what they're doing. Obviously, they're doing what they're doing, and they continue to do it. They're not like killing themselves and all that. So it's impressive that they're able to do these things and not kill themselves. But Nick Gage almost bled out in a ring one time because of a botch. Cactus Jack had his ear ripped off on a botched spot. Dante Martin is out right now because of a botched spot. Sting's WWF career cut short because of a botched spot. John Cena had his face rearranged from a botched spot. Both of those were by the same guy, Seth freaking Rollins. The greatest wrestler in the world, in my opinion, today. Who else? And then Shibata, his career almost was finished when he was in a match with Okada, and I think it was he fractured his skull or something like that. So everybody botches. So why the hate on? I don't get it. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but my point here is that
so here's the thing.
Guys are great wrestlers. Everybody I just named is a great wrestler in their form, in the world that they live in or operate in, and they've done the same kind of things. So it's weird. It's kind of weird to me at this point.
So the internet gets these.
Boom.
I you know what? I'm going to use a different term because what I was going to use, I was going to like, maybe I shouldn't say that. The internet gets like this theory in their head that if they don't like somebody and God forbid they mess up, then that's it. They're the worst person in the history of the world. Look, I'm not defending nor comparing anybody in this situation. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
When the complaints about Nia Jax were always, she's a botch machine. She's a botch machine. The complaints about the Bellas, they're botch machines. Everybody messes up. Sometimes some are a little bit more prevalent than others, but everybody botches. Everybody messes up. Things go wrong. It's a art form where they're doing live combat, assisting each other in it, and sometimes You see it in movies and everywhere that you watch, and things go wrong when they're live. It happens. This is, if you're going to use that to fuel your hatred against anybody, then you have no idea what the business is.
It's the part of me that I guess is starting to bother me about it is like, we all talk about mental health and taking care of each other and all this other stuff, and then people are online saying these crazy, hurtful, nasty things about people who are also online, and they see these things like, man, do you really care about it, or do you just like, it doesn't make sense to me. It's very weird to me.
All right, I got.
Go ahead.
You can think about the fans. Some of it's the in-ring work. They want pure in-ring guys, and there's people that want both. I'm clearly somebody that wants both. But when you are entertaining enough to where, I am all for it, man. I mean, I love Bray Wyatt, and how many matches did he have coming back? Yeah. I mean, just things like that, man. Some things are passable. The thing about our fan base that I noticed with just wrestling in general, I know back then the internet was pretty toxic, and then there would be people that I would talk to that don't exactly watch everything or see everything, but they're very gullible with what a crowd is saying, and all they need is one shred of evidence. And maybe they'll just read something real quick. Well, you know that Dom never even did NXT. He shouldn't even be here. He never had proper training. Boom. They have an answer. Now it's intensified. That actual going along with the crowd starts to be intensified. And then so all of a sudden the voice of someone else's voice now becomes their voice.
Yeah.
And now when they say that, they are connecting with something. And unfortunately, we get that a lot with wrestling fans. You can get that too with video game fans. I've seen it from them as well. I just don't think they're informed enough, or they really haven't watched what we have watched, because we watch it weekly. But regardless, there's always going to be that in-ring debate. I mean, if you saw the NXT crowd, what were they saying? As soon as they dropped him like that, you ain't ready. There was the one guy saying West Side at the top, and the crowd was going crazy, and Dom does the whole thing on the top rope when he gets a little distracted by it. There was people like, he's not ready. And you heard the other half of the crowd, not as loud as they were, of course, because they're hateful and like they're done with his ass. And I understand why some people are. But the other half of the crowd was still yelling pretty loud, yes, he is. There are people that are like me, that I am here for the entertainment and the wrestling. But when your entertainment is this good, and the combination can't be beat. You got Rhea Ripley. You got Razor Ramon's son almost, Damian Priest. He's cool as shit. Damian is literally reminds me of Razor Ramon. And you got Finn, who's been on a stride since last year. I mean, it's the perfect combination to take him anywhere. So, and I'm not going to go, I'm starting going off of why I like him so much. Anyways.
You good.
That's the reason I think there's a couple people that jumped on the bandwagon that literally intensify it, and they go more off than other people. Those are people that are, accidentally toxic, and they don't even know what they're really doing.
There you go.
And that's intensified when you got a couple people saying he can't do in-ring work, and then off to the races.
So it's a great transition there, because what you're talking about before is some people are in-ring, some people are character. Dominik Mysterio reminds me a lot of what WWF was in the 90s. And a lot of it is because he isn't really, he's still relatively new to this stuff. 4 years. He hasn't been wrestling long. He's still relatively new. But he has a really cool character that he plays perfectly, and it's over. And that's what drove the 90s wrestling, at least in WWF. I'm not going to speak for anything else, because I watched WWF. I watched a little bit of WCW. But it wasn't until late WCW when it got real that I started really watching. But WWF was like really pushed hard as like character-driven things, and it was fun. The Attitude Era, again, the most fun time in the history of wrestling, in my opinion. And it was a lot of just character guys. And the in-ring work guys, there was very, very few of them. And they got over because of that. But now what we have today is we had a 90 to 10% ratio back then of character work compared to in-ring work. Now we have it reversed, where it's like 90% of the people who are like big time over with the fans online and all that are the guys who are like really, really good in ring. And that's cool. Dom isn't that guy. He's over with the character work. And that's why I like him so much. I feel like that's why a lot of other people like him so much, Nobody's sitting here talking about he's like this fantastic wrestler. I've never heard one person say that. I think they've said he's gotten better. You can clearly see he's gotten better. There's room for him to grow, lots of potential, but he's over. He's getting better reactions in some towns than anybody else on the roster. And it's like, I just don't get the hatred for it. I really just don't get the hatred for it.
So the reasons to hate him, we can go over that one by one. But like, you think all these different angles of hate that he's getting, like if the crowd's hating and booing or the internet's booing, it's unfortunately they're just helping Dom because he's doing a better job than most heels. You hate him for real because he's not good at ring work. You hate him for real because your friends told him he was stupid. You hate him for real because he's acting like a wannabe gangster.
Yeah.
And he's doing it to perfection. I said before, Malibu's Most Wanted. That shit should be he should be in a movie doing this shit.
Them lead into the hatred. It's brilliant.
And you also hate him as a face fan because he's a heel. You also hate him because he's with Rhea. You also hate him because you think WWE's pushing him. You also hate him because he's in a cool ass faction. Now you put all that shit together and like, what did Michael Cole say? I just want him to win one thing by himself. Just one damn thing, this kid. No, and that's perfect because that's also giving you more reason to hate him because he's winning by cheating. So he is hitting every angle as he should. So keep hating him. You're going to make him better. And he's got star quality. He's got his dad's blood. And not just that, he's got some of the best people by his side right now. And he's in a faction that it's entertaining anytime I see any of them on. When there's no stopping him. I'm sorry. It's over.
When there's people in his kinds of position where he's not that great and he's still learning, put him in that position was like the best thing possible because he's got things to lean on. He's got crutches. We talk about with the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's a crutch for some people. A faction is a crutch, and Rhea is a crutch for Dom. And I just want to pull out one quote. I don't have the exact quote, but Seth Rollins was being interviewed, and he was talking about Dom, in which he basically stated, he goes, Dom is like a sponge right now. He has a great work ethic, and he will ask us questions, and when we give him an answer, he literally incorporates it into his shtick the next time we see him. Like, he's literally picking it up and using it that fast. This week he was in a tag match with Sammy and Kevin, correct? That was this week. Yeah.
Yes.
Then he had the match with Wesley, and then he had a match with Pete Dunne. Those are very, very different kinds of matches. Very, very different styles. They're trying to groom this kid to be the next thing. And when I said a few months ago, and people laughed at me, man, it's looking more and more realistic as I'm going to pat myself on the back and brag about to the day I'm proven wrong on it. When Rocky was being pushed in as a face and people were like, die, Rocky, die, those fans hated this man. Dom is at that level of hatred where people legit hate this kid. Third generation kid, second generation really, but we're going to count him third because the uncle was Rey Mysterio.
Right.
And babyface, we hated him, pushed him as a heel. He's fantastic as a heel. And now, guess what? He's a champion. The trajectory is there, everybody. You can ignore it if you'd like, but I'm not lying. Tell me when I'm telling lies. I'm not. The trajectory is there. The comparison is there for now. And stop hating on Dom because you're going to look really, really, really foolish in a few years. Like I did with John Cena.
It's funny you bring up John Cena. My thing is, how many guys come out of the gate that people are like, they fawn over or whatever, and then all of a sudden something goes a little bit wrong, and then all of a sudden they can never be course corrected. That's it. That's your thought process on this person for almost forever. It's funny because Dom, when he is, on his trajectory, he reminds me of a lot of a guy kind of like Dolph Ziggler, because Ziggler came up, he got like this weird push. He almost didn't have a finisher, throughout half of his career because no one knew what it was because he was just like cheating and finding ways to win, and everybody was like, "This guy's never going to get over." And eventually, he got over way more than everybody would have thought have. Dom is doing that same thing. He's like, okay, we don't need a 5-star classic out of Dom because all Dom's got to do is stand in the middle of the ring and put a microphone to his mouth, and he's going to get more heat than any other person in the room. That's what people want to see. You brought up earlier, and this is a great comparison. You said it was, back in the Attitude Era, it was like 90-10.
Sorry, I don't mean to.
No, you're 100% right, though. but yeah, so At this, back at that time, it was 90-10 with character work versus in-ring work. We're at a position now where there are a lot of fans who really do like in-ring work. We can go back, but 60-40, 70-30 sometimes. How ironic is it that the Bloodline segment that opened up SmackDown a couple of weeks ago is being talked about as one of the best SmackDowns of the year? Now it closes the show. It gets one segment. It's not as long, and everybody was like, the SmackDown was okay this week. Because we didn't have the big character-driven, fun stuff in the middle. Judgment Day is doing that on Raw, and the Bloodline's doing that for us on SmackDown. And the more we're seeing of it, look, the Judgment Day is sprinkled throughout the entire episode of Raw, and I love that.
Yeah,
Give me more of that. Do more of that with the Bloodline now, too, on SmackDown. But that's what everybody's tuning in for. You can sit there and say that in-ring work, sells tickets. Look what we're being proven right now.
Yeah. Well, great transition, because from there we're gonna move right into the Bloodline, because it wouldn't be a positively awesome show if we didn't talk about the Bloodline. So
I got one thing.
Okay.
Whatever happened to us damn fans when we just want to see an underdog get better, or to see? Remember last year we talked about Dom, and you're like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "I think he needs more work and this and that," but there's always the possibility he can get there, and I'd like to see it. What happened to wanting to see somebody just get better and improve? Like what? There's nothing wrong with that. It's an underdog story. Damn it, Rudy can win this football game.
So great point, because I was like, right now, I think it's fair to say I'm one of the bigger Dom fans that we all know. Like I love Meg. He's fantastic. I was one of the first people back then. It was like, get his ass down to NXT because he needs work. And he proved me wrong. He reversed he changed my mind. I think a lot of people are too proud to just be like, I was wrong. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy. But we're a Bloodline. We're going to move over to the Bloodline because we got tribal combat, everybody. Now I've seen a few things. I haven't seen anything from WWE, so I don't know how official it is, but I've heard that tribal combat means one, we know it's no DQ. Jay talked about that. I've seen that it means that no members of the Bloodline can interfere. No members of the family can interfere in this match, which I think is very, very interesting based on a prediction I made earlier this year. And we'll get to that too. But other than that, I don't know what's going on. I know you become head of the table if you win, so that's an interesting thing to add there. But I want y'all's opinions on what you think might be added to what the tribal combat might be. And then we can kind of talk about a little bit what it might end up be, the ramifications of the rules that are incorporated with the match. Because, man, my head is like just getting bigger and bigger and bigger with the possibility of something happening that I'm like, oh, please, 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 please. So, Albert, you look like you got something, so I'm going to let you go. What do you think tribal combat is going to consist of other than the head of the table and no DQ?
I think that it really, what it boils down to is it's man, one-on-one, man versus man, winner take all. You're champion, you're the head of the table, you're the leader of the family, you are the leader of WWE, you're taking over the mantle as being the one. I think that's what and the idea of Roman having that instituted and having the foresight to stop Solo from spiking Jay this past week. No, we're now under tribal combat. That means that from what I'm thinking, they're not touching each other until SummerSlam.
Yeah.
That's it. It's SummerSlam. You train, you get ready, you get your mind ready, you get your body ready. It's anything goes. The only one, it's like Highlander. There can only be one, That's it. That's where we're at. And I love that we're there.
And Solo's just licking his chops. You're like, I am the one.
And he's eyeing those. Man, let me tell you something.
Tidey, what about you, man? What you thinking?
Oh man, it's kind of hard for me. I was trying to scratch my head of what the match would look like, but yeah, just no DQ is what it seems like. But the ramifications of it is, I think there's an X factor, and that's Paul Heyman. Because if family can't get involved, Paul Heyman isn't technically family. He's called family, but he's not family. And if you saw him talking to Roman Reigns at the end, he's like, It was the Elder's idea. He kept saying that like 3 times for the camera went off, for the show.
And
went
when he
off.
did, Solo's neck snapped. Like, what? Like, that was an interesting little tidbit, because he's the one that he came in because of the Elders, and now he's hearing things about the Elders, and they're not relaying information to him. I think Solo's about to kind of snap because he's now not getting the information that Jay got.
Well, did you hear Roman's response? Roman's response is, why are they talking to him?
Yeah.
Like, why are they talking to Jay and not me?
And then Solo's thinking the same thing because, again, he's there because of the Elders. So I wanted to get that out there. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Absolutely.
I just find it funny because of Paul Heyman. I'm more of thinking of how it should be at the end. Like, yeah, I want Jay to win. I do. But, like, I'm looking at Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. He's even got the yellow hair, blonde hair like Dennis Rodman. Talking about Solo. I mean, I kept thinking of that comparison when they were sitting down. It's like, man, you don't have it. You don't know what's going on. As Roman is saying all these things, and then slowly they transition and trick me into, like, I thought they're going to hurt each other, and Roman stops them. So it is only a one-on-one match. And I kept thinking, well, Paul Heyman's the X Factor, because Paul Heyman Solo's a, how do you say? Yeah, he fights Solo. That's his thing. But he'll garner respect if he's the next tribal chief. Paul Heyman will jump to him as Paul Heyman would.
What up, Andy?
Paul Heyman will not jump towards Jay, no matter what, because Jay wants him out. Paul Heyman, of course, will suck up and go with Roman Reigns, as he probably should. So I'm just thinking, I don't really have anything what I think is going to happen. I just think that Paul Heyman is going to interfere in some way, as he'll have a plan. That's all I really got for this, honestly.
Okay, so I have 2 theories. One just kind of popped to me today. The other one is the one I'm going with here because I've been preaching it for months. I know logically I'm supposed to think Cody Rhodes is going to win the title at WrestleMania 40 from Roman Reigns because that's the story we started and that's the story we're going to finish with, and blah, 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 blah. I'm throwing it all out the window because I have feelings for what's going on, and my feelings overtake my head all the time. So I am completely invested in the fact that Jey Uso should win this title at SummerSlam. I believe I said it after, it was very soon after WrestleMania. I was saying it, that I think that's where they were going. And if they could tell me a good enough story, Jey Uso could be the guy, and I'd buy it 100%. We're doing tribal combat. And if it means that family cannot get involved, you brought up Paul Heyman, he's not family. Yep, he can get involved because he's not family. You know who else isn't family? Sami Zayn.
Oh, my God. Thank you.
So if Jey Uso gets Sami Zayn's help at SummerSlam to take down Roman Reigns and the tribal chief to become the new head of the table, the new champion, and then guess what happens in the midst of all this? Solo's already starting to snap. So now Jey Uso has the title that Solo's kind of looking at. He clearly wants to be the head of the table. We've been seeing the beads. He's been seeing it. He held it. He's starting to get a little bit cocky. Hand me the mic, Paul. He's doing all this stuff. I think the idea of Jey Uso winning the title is a lot higher than a lot of people want to give it credit, like want to say. I truly believe this 100%. I would say probably 51% leaning towards Roman winning, 49 Jey at this point. That's what I think right now, based on everything I'm looking at story-wise. And maybe I'm reading the story in the wrong direction. I don't know. But based on what I'm seeing, what I'm looking at, reading, all this other stuff, that's what I'm seeing happen. I might be wrong. I probably am wrong. But what I'm saying it makes sense. I'm not crazy. And I really think this is a possibility. And I've been on this shtick for a long time. So
what did Sami Zayn tell Jey?
Exactly.
He pulled him in the back. I acknowledge you. So he doesn't really have to get Jay to tell him, hey, come help me out. Sami may just do it, man. I mean, and honestly, Sami wants Roman to, eat another one. So very likely.
And Jason, you're right, Andy. And again, that's why I'm spinning this into a direction. And I'm like, again, I'm not pulling things out of thin air. I'm literally following the story here and giving you a logical ending to this story that we're getting. Whether that's the way they go, probably not, but it could happen. And oh my God, would it be fantastic? That's probably just me. I don't know, but seeing Sammy come out and help Jay take down the blood, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's art.
Yeah, at the end of the day here, the one big thing that keeps ringing in my head is, after all that they've done, is this going to be it? And my big thing is that Jay got that win last month. He's the first guy to pin Roman. He's gotten that, I think that was his look. I'm a Jets fan, okay? A few years ago, the Jets beat the Patriots with Mark Sanchez as their quarterback. And
fumble boy.
This was
messing with me.
This was the year prior, a couple years prior to that, and the Jets and Mark Sanchez were on fire at that time, and they beat the Patriots in the first round of the playoffs, and that was my Super Bowl. Night of Champions was Jimmy Uso's Super Bowl. Jay Uso's Super Bowl. He got the big win. He pinned Roman. That's it. Roman wins. In my opinion, there's just nothing that you're going to ever do to convince me that Jay is going to be the one to beat Roman at this time. Because if it's going to be that that this is supposed to be, we're pinning the S on the chest of the next guy. The guy who's going to beat Roman is going to be that guy. It's got to be Cody. It has to be. And if it's not Cody, it's got to be somebody that they really think is going to be the guy, not just for the next 5 years, but for the next 5 to 10 years.
Question: does it have to be like the next S on the chest to beat him? Like really legitimately beat him? Does it have to be that way?
The longest title reign in history, he's the final boss. So that's the way that I look at it. Roman Reigns is the final boss. That's why I'm okay that he doesn't defend his championship as often.
Yeah, for sure.
He's the final boss. If you got to get all the way up to getting to him, then when you get there, he's going to knock you all the way back down.
Make us have
you love the Patriots. I love it. I love it right now. You love the Patriots.
Whoa. Do not start with me. All right? I don't watch your team win how many Super Bowls over my. That is the one time I get to brag about it. God damn it! I will talk about that game till I am red in the face. That is my Super Bowl. That is the best game I had ever seen in my life. I thought they were going to beat the Colts to win the Super Bowl that year.
Oh man, that's funny.
My thing is this. I don't think there has to be. I'll take the Cody Rhodes moment. I mean, I want to see the documentary.
Sure.
The documentary they just did, I really want to see that. I saw it on the SmackDown commercial or whatever. So I actually want to see that documentary because, sometimes you get a Stone Cold Broken Skull Sessions rub, and I'm actually liking some of these stars more than I thought, right? So, cool. Give me that. Because I do really, really, really like Cody. Yeah. But if Sammy can't get the S on his chest when the whole world was clamoring for it, and Cody was still trying to get to the point to where, hey, he can deserve it. Yeah, Cody can get there by next year. But, man, it's like 1,000 what? Now it's 1,058 days or something.
I don't even know at this point, honestly.
I'm okay if someone else beats him who isn't the next S on the chest. I mean, Cody's going to probably be that S on the chest dude whenever he beats anybody, like any champion. I mean, he could beat Seth, right? Come on.
But he even admitted, he said, even if I beat Seth, it doesn't end that story. Like, his story is Roman Reigns. He wants that title. He wants to be WWE Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion. That is the championship that lineage-wise dates back to the championship that his father almost won and wasn't able to. That's his story. It's that championship. Now, you're right. He could end that story by beating Jey Uso or Solo Sikoa or, I don't know, anybody else. It could be anybody, right? Bobby Lashley.
It won't have the same meaning for you, the Cody fan.
I don't think it has the same meaning, period.
But hold on. Can I cut you off real quick?
Absolutely.
Solo Sikoa, Cody and Solo have history.
Oh, they can.
Cody told Solo,
as you're the guy who screwed me, and took that off of my, and everything. I think that's great, but that's great for a first title feud. Yeah. Once Cody's the champion, not the title feud that Cody takes the title off of him.
I wouldn't think Cody takes the belt off Jay, but I think there's a way where you could do the story where it turns into Cody and Solo. But I think all that depends on what do you have for Roman. I don't know what you have for Roman. I'm assuming it's for the championship at WrestleMania. I completely understand that's probably the way we're going. I'm just saying, based on how the story goes, I'm seeing a logical ending, and I'm giving you reasons as to why that ending makes sense to me. And I think it's a cooler ending that makes more sense story-wise. That's all I'm saying. I also, the no family thing, we haven't seen Jimmy. And I think there's a possibility if Jay doesn't win. Oh my God, that would suck, man. I'm going to cry. It's the Sami Zayn and Elimination Chamber thing all over again for me.
Prepare for it.
I think there's a way where Jimmy comes in and maybe screws Jay here because he's not supposed to be getting involved, but he's returning at SummerSlam. I know you're going to see Jimmy at SummerSlam. But how? Before the match, after the match, during? I don't know. Again, and this is all just, I don't even know if this is a rule in the tribal combat. I don't know if family's not involved. I don't know. It's very interesting.
It seems like it would have to be, right?
What's that?
It seems like it would have to be.
Yeah. Based on Roman stopping Solo from hitting him. It's like, no,
right.
Y'all can't get involved.
Well, if no one's okay with, you don't want exactly Jay to lose, and you don't want him to take Cody's spot. So let's just say Jay loses. Where does Jay go from here? Is there something that you don't know that where it could go? Him and Solo, and then what does Roman do? I mean,
Roman disappears for a while, and when he comes back, I don't know. Again, there's routes. Obviously, this is about the time where The Rock's name gets brought back up into things. I know people are tired of hearing it, but if this is the way they go, Rock and Roman at WrestleMania frees up that title for you to do. Again, I would think you did Solo versus Cody at that point, but I don't. That's a hard sell. I know it's a hard sell. I'm speaking with my heart when I say Jey Uso should win, but Solo could easily just be Jay's first feud, and then after like 2-3 months at the end of this feud, Solo takes that off of him when Jimmy aligns with Solo and Paul because they're brothers too. They're not twins, but they are brothers. And Jay and Jimmy have talked about how they want to wrestle each other at WrestleMania. So I mean, there's how you could get there. There's a lot of pieces to that. I know we're kind of just unraveling a lot of things, but I really want to see Jey Uso win the title at SummerSlam, and I want Sami Zayn to be the reason it happens because it makes too much sense to me. No.
It's a real good moment. I just don't think it's the.
There you go. Priest cashes in on Jay, and then Finn has Seth's belt. Judgment Day running things. Probably not going to happen.
At that point, then you got to put at least the Raw or SmackDown tag titles on Rhea and Dom, please. Please. Because Dom mentioned it in an interview. He was like, give Rhea like another year or two. She's going to be winning the guys' titles too. Give me Rhea and Dom as tag team champions.
Give me EO cashing on Austin Theory. I'm not joking.
I'll take it.
I don't have anything else more Bloodline because, again, I could talk about it all night.
Same.
The tribal combat does interest me. I want to know more about it because right now
I can't wait for next week.
We're just kind of like spitballing ideas and all that. But
the documentary looks off the chain with the Cody thing. I mean,
for sure.
I just saw the preview, so I mean, yeah. If you want to say if they're strapping a rocket to anybody right now, like poster boy, yeah, he looks like the poster boy. He truly is. I'm sick of his smile. It's so perfect. Everything's so perfect about him. I mean, you just give him everything already. You talk about, we watched Barbie. He's Ken. You know what? And he's not Ken enough for me. He's just not. He gets it.
Blue man with that.
This is a new weekly segment.
But I think if Cody, they can convince me this year, man, I just don't want to wait to WrestleMania. Do it at Survivor Series, man. Have Cody get him in.
Nah, it has to be at Mania. Mania is a huge deal, especially since it's WrestleMania 40. Roman losing at WrestleMania 40 is a huge deal that goes along with the huge event that is WrestleMania 40. The 40th anniversary has to have something huge. That would be one of those things that's pretty huge. So I
want Sammy, Jay, or Solo. That's who I want pinning Roman according to story right now.
Yeah, in my opinion, I'm even saying right now that Jay makes more sense now to pin him than Sammy did at Elimination Chamber.
Oh, you didn't see his shirt? He's the real Chief. Solo was just Solo. He didn't say anything about a Chief on here. He just got greedy little eyes. He doesn't deserve it.
One more thing to bring up is Albert was talking about how Jay pinned Roman at Money in the Bank. That's his WrestleMania. And I was of the thought process like, yeah, he pinned Roman there. There's no way he's going to pin him again at SummerSlam. But then I started thinking about what we've talked about in the past with Triple H and how he's really good at kind of leading you down one way and then kind of saying, let's go this way real quick. So the thought is like, yeah, Jay's not going to pin Roman again. I don't know why. I just feel a little bit convinced it could happen. I'm more convinced today than I was last week.
And you know what? I love that because that's a testament to the WWE in making you invest in these characters so much that we believe. Look, if you would have told us that, a year ago even that there was a chance that Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the title, and there was a chance that we would think that Jey Uso would win. And that's a year ago. This is in the middle of main event Jey Uso. Would we have thought that there was a chance? Probably not. And look, here we are a year later, and we all think that there – look, I'm saying I don't think so. Is there a chance? Absolutely there is. And the story's great, exactly.
From a combat perspective, yeah, no, Roman's going to beat him. But if I'm looking at it from a story, and this is why I prefer viewing wrestling as a story-driven thing as opposed to a combat element thing, because it allows me to feel a whole lot of things and allows me to look in so many different ways. And that in itself makes the show just more enjoyable because I can see it going this way and it makes sense and I like it. But then they swerve me and they go a different way. And I'm like, this is really cool too. Or they could go this way. And there's just so many different outlets we can go as opposed to just like, well, that guy beat him and that's the end of it. Story is just so important to me.
It is.
Harry, real quick. The thing with they ended big reigns not at Mania before, like Brock and Punk's. Punk's was ended so they could create a huge moment with John Cena taking the title off Rock. So that's why Punk's was dropped before Mania. And then Brock's, I'm not 100% sure which one you're talking about. So if you elaborate, I might be able to.
I'm assuming he means his first title run where he lost in Survivor Series, the Big Show.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you because I was had one foot out the door at that point.
I was there that night. That's the reason why I bring it up. That was Survivor Series 2002. That's the first ever Elimination Chamber.
Would we say that Brock's first run was a big reign, though? I had one foot out the door, so I don't really know.
I think so. I mean, he was the next big thing, and he would only been there for a year. Like, it was a big deal.
But then he win the title back at WrestleMania? Like, he dropped the Big Show, then Kurt Angle.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he did. He did. And he beats Angle, I believe. Yeah.
He dropped it so that he could have a big moment at WrestleMania. Like, that's what WrestleMania
Yeah, because he won the Rumble.
So that's why they probably ended those reigns. But from there, we will move on. I want to touch on Collision again real quick because much like the Bloodline, this shit is amazing. There's no other way to put it. This is the best weekly show on television today. And I will not hear... Oh, I'm hitting the wrong buttons again. I will not hear anything differently from my perspective, I guess. It's that damn good. As I keep telling everybody, I think it's constructed a lot like Raw. I think the way the show kind of transitions from segment to segment, everything has a meaning. The beginning usually has something to do with the end. It keeps you invested throughout the whole thing. The wrestling in-ring stuff is better. They do more wrestling in the ring than Raw does, but that's just because it's a different brand. A different company, I mean. But the elements are of Raw with an old school feel, just an AEW show. It's phenomenal. And anybody that has not been watching Collision, I'm urging you, go watch it. And this isn't the CM Punk fan talking. I promise you. Collision, for all the AEW naysayers, is the show that they've been saying they wanted. Because Dynamite gives us these guys that come in from New Japan, from Ring of Honor, even though Ring of Honor is tied to AEW. We don't see them on a week-to-week basis. Sometimes it takes me out of it sometimes because I don't watch all that other stuff. I'm not mad that they do it because I understand the diehard core fan base at AEW does enjoy that stuff. It's not for me. So, and I've always said to grow your product, you can't really just do that all the time. You can't just dedicate a show to your diehard hardcores. You got to give something for the casuals or the other fans so that they can, if you want to grow. If you don't want to grow, don't do it. Do your thing, whatever, fine by me. But They clearly want to grow because Collision is the exact opposite of Dynamite. It focuses on the members from the roster. It doesn't bring in the outside guys. Everybody that I see on this show is getting involved in something. This segment ends. That's a story. It's either starting part of the story or the end of a story. Every single segment. Tidey, I know you tried Dynamite and it wasn't a thing and it was hard to get into it. If you can and you ever have the time, I would check out Collision. Because I think it's what it fixes all the things you were saying you had a hard time following Dynamite for.
Yeah. Trying to get invested into who these people are, because it's like I'm 10 years old. I've never been to a baseball game or something even slower, golfing, and you're gonna go make me watch Roy McIlroy and be like, "Hey, this is the greatest guy ever." They don't talk in that. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So if I need something with talking characters, let me know what's going on. So each week I can invest and see, oh, he's back again this week. What's he doing now?
Yeah.
Collision's for you, man.
So here's how Collision opens. It gives you promos of matches that are happening. So last week we had the Owen Hart final. So we had Willow,
This is Ruby.
Ruby Soho, CM Punk, and Ricky Starks. And the show opened up with 4 promos from those people. Before we even see the intro package, we got 4 promos from those individuals, one after the other, talking about why they were going to win and why they needed to win. Then we get the intro, then we get the show. Punk comes out. Opening segment, much like Raw, and it ends up leading to the main event. No, they didn't do that last week. They just did that tag team match, which was phenomenal itself. But usually every other show they've done, the opening segment leads to the main event. And then Andrade's in a feud right now over his entrance mask. The House of Black took it. He wants it back. It's simple, but it works. It lets me know why Andrade wants to beat their ass. And they continue it week after week after week instead of forgetting it this week, revisiting it 2 weeks from now. They're not bringing in the New Japan. And again, I'm not shitting on the idea of bringing the New Japan people in on Dynamite. That's how that show operates. Cool. But on Dynamite, on Collision, they're not doing that. So you don't have to sit there and wonder, who's this guy? When am I going to see this guy again? Like it doesn't. So everyone that you see on Collision this week, chances are you're going to see him again next week. And the stories are literally progressing week by week by week. It's
good.
Fantastic. And right here, Ted's absolutely Sky Blue is a definitely if I know you're into the women's wrestling, Sky Blue is phenomenal. If you haven't watched her, she's literally growing before our eyes, and it's awesome. And I've been a big sayer of Raw being the best show for the longest time. Collision has overtaken it. It's that good.
We've been saying it every week.
Wow.
I truly.
We've been talking about it every week, Tidey. Every week, Jimmy and I have been, I feel like there was a point where people were saying that, maybe we didn't talk enough about AEW or we weren't as big on AEW on this show. Man, for the past 5 weeks, it's been the exact opposite. We have had something to talk about Collision every single week. Again, another week, another amazing episode. Collision just proves the show that if you just dedicate the right amount of time and you don't try to cram 2.5 hours worth of stuff in a 2-hour show, you let things breathe and you give people the opportunity to take in the moments and everything.
Yes.
You're going to have a beautiful wrestling show. And man, Collision has been doing that every single week for me. I love it. I wasn't really crazy about the whole Ricky Starks heel turn because I was like, oh man, maybe they could do this. This week he solidified it for me again, and it was mic work. It wasn't with him doing anything in the ring.
I want to say 2 things about that too. Ricky Starks, who I love Ricky. I think that was his best promo he's cut since he's been in AEW.
I agree. I 100% agree.
And then literally 5 minutes later, it's followed up by Darby Allin's best promo since he's been in AEW. And that can't be a coincidence. We got different people booking this show. There's a different feel to the show. It's lovely. It's so damn good. There's not one complaint I can say about any of the shows. Not one single complaint.
That's damn good news because that's kind of what I wanted. Because where I work, I talk to you about wrestling, and they bring up AEW every now and then. They ask me why I don't watch it because my time schedule and I don't really have cable. So, and because I would explain to them what I do like about the 3 WWE shows I watch: Raw, NXT, and SmackDown.
Yeah.
And I told him about the Dynamite I would catch here and there, and I was having a hard time catching on. So if I'm having a hard time even making it to the show, why should I keep trying? Because of my time schedule. And, but to hear that, that's just great news for wrestling in general. That means these people are solidifying something that someone like me is used to watching, a WWE fan. So WWE fan can get that same kind of taste and go to AEW and have a reason to care. I mean, that's fantastic news for wrestling, because that means you two, especially you, Jimmy, has now given the props to the show that I've been waiting to hear, because that's huge news.
And here you go. Oh man, I keep hitting that thing. I apologize for that sound. Lou right here hates CM Punk. So there you go. That tells you right there. Man, that microphone sucked. I apologize.
Hates CM Punk.
he hates CM Punk, and it's cool. I love Lou. He's cool as shit, and I love CM Punk. So this isn't CM Punk bias here. The show is just that good. If I had to literally cancel all the wrestling I watch and watch one show a week, I'd have a very hard time not picking Collision right now.
Yeah, exactly.
FTR is on there. FTR is fantastic. Bullet Club Gold is. If it wasn't for Judgment Day, Bullet Club Gold would be my favorite faction right now. It's awesome. Jay White is a guy that you're gonna fall in love with, Tidey. If you haven't seen enough of him yet, you'll love this dude.
I've heard nothing but great things about him for like the last couple months.
I've
liked Jay White. That's just in my head now.
I've liked him for a while, but since watching him on Collision, I've just like, this dude's this. In my opinion, he should be in the talk for the best overall wrestler in the world today. That's how highly I think of him. And that's not just in ring, that's the whole package. Because he's doing things that nobody else is doing, and I'm talking about like small things. The shit talking, the direction that he's giving Juice Robinson, and Juice Robinson's been fantastic. And I could talk about Collision forever because it's so damn good. It's a perfect show. An amalgamation of what Raw's structure, the old feel that I love from the 90s, like of a Saturday Night Wrestling show, and AEW's in-ring product without like the extra pizzazz. It's not an indie-rific show. There, and that's not a knock on indie wrestling, people. Please don't shoot me. It's just not that. It's a completely different style than what you see on Dynamite. So,
and you know what? If these are also if Collision is the, I don't know, I guess the child of these new AEW rules where they're getting a little bit more stringent about ensuring that they're not doing the same 6 moves in every match. And they're like, okay, if we're going to use a pile driver this week, we're going to use the pile driver once, and it's going to be in the main event. So it doesn't like weaken. Like, I feel like Collision is like the child of those, of those rules. And then like the people who are booking, the show all together. Absolutely perfect. It just, I can't tell you how pleasantly surprised I was by how good Collision's been.
It's a story-driven show. Whether the story's being told in the ring or whether it's being told through promos and segments, it's just happening. And I'm not joking in the least bit when I say every single segment means something. You can't miss any of the show, or you're missing what's going to lead to something next week. It's a perfect wrestling show. That's my opinion. A lot of people that I talk to about agree with me. I don't think I've met anyone that really doesn't like it.
Yeah,
I know there's people out there that don't, but I don't talk to them.
It's mostly it's so funny. I feel like the most negativity coming towards Collision are very, very, very hardcore elite fans.
The punk haters, but
yeah, or either the punk haters or the elite lovers, and they may be one and the same, but sometimes they're not. But those are their reasons. It's either Punk's on that show, so I hate it, or the elite's not on that show, so I hate it. Just one more thing. And for anybody that hasn't watched it because Punk's on it, you're like, oh well, because I know a lot of people think that Punk is the new Hogan, and he's like, that's not going to work for me, pal. Punk has now lost as many matches as he's won on the show. That's insane to me, and I'm not even mad about it because it all made sense and I loved it. It absolutely did.
God, Juice Robinson, I love him. He's oh my god, favorite wrestlers. AJ is legit, and I thought so too until I saw this week's Collision, and Ricky did the exact same thing, and I'm like, go with it.
Yeah,
because it gives Ricky something. Now we're like, Ricky, you bastard, you're getting away with something, and now
he's back to being
get away with it.
And he's back to being that brash, arrogant, flamboyant heel again, which that's what we fell in love with Ricky Starks. And let me tell you something. What happened to Ricky Starks is what WWE tends to do with a lot of their hottest heel acts when they turn babyface. They strip them of all the fun things that they would do as heels that got them over. That's what the AEW did with Ricky Starks. I'm glad they hit the reset button. They said, okay, this guy's going to be one of our guys at one point. He's going to be one of the top guys at one point. Let's gear him back up to get him where he needs to be.
And a testament to again, Collision and what they're doing. I think this is the third time that Ricky's kind of caught some steam and got things going. This is the first time they haven't faltered it after the big moment. Because he gets the big moments, and then he drops off, and then he has to build himself back up. He got his big moment, and then guess what? They pushed him even further this past week. It's a brilliant show. But with that, I'm going to go ahead, and we're going to go into we can talk about something y'all want to talk about. So, Tidey, you got something. Good. Go ahead, Tidey. What are we going to chat about?
Since you said you would have a hard time if you had to pick one, you probably go AEW Collision. All right, so I'm gonna say some stuff. All right, so Miss TV shout out. That shit had me cracking up. He said Pat McAfee is the most overpaid loser in all the sports. That shit had me dying. That shit was hilarious to me. I'm sorry. I love that shit. Rhea and the Raquel face off. Rhea's finally got somebody that looks bigger than her.
Yeah.
That doesn't back down like at all. She doesn't even flinch. That is brilliant. I already said Damian Priest is amazing. What Dom's doing right now, he just main evented. He beat the greatest North American champion. And I wasn't a big Wesley fan in the very beginning because how he used to talk. But he's now seeming to be more like himself, and he's just a nice dude. And it's working. And that cardiac kick and the shit that he's been doing, he just beat probably the most athletic person in ring. Dom just beat them. And then he beats Butch, the NXT UK champion. That breaks fingers and shit. That was
Butch whooped his
I'm just
ass.
saying, this is some crazy good shit going on right now. Tiffany Stratton was on the outside of the ring looking at Charlotte Flair, the person she's compared to. Like, she is that big, and also compared to Kurt Angle, she's picking up.
Yeah, she looked like a star when they went to her on SmackDown. She looked like a star.
I'll say the other part at the end. But Bobby, Trick, and Mello, Street Profits, they're showing up, and they're going to Bobby Lashley's vehicle. They're hanging out. That's big ass news for me.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Jay shit escalating. Someone's like, man, you can have AEW Dynamite and Collision, but you got to drop one of the WWEs. I couldn't. I need all three. I love NXT. I'll
be very hard.
I'll try to make a spot for Saturday night if Tidey's not going out drinking or watching the movies at theaters. Corbin's just being himself now. I thought, okay, where are you going with this, Corbin? Corbin's doing good in NXT with that. Mello is finally facing the biggest opponent he has, Dragunov, because he beat Braun and he beat him clean. Got Mello and Dragunov is going to be talked about, just like Dragunov and Gunther was talked about. Dragunov is not playing around. This is some really good shit going on right now.
Wrestling as a whole is phenomenal right now. I won't listen to anybody tell me anything differently.
I'm just happy that you're saying AEW is now here when it was like, it needs to get here already. You're like, it's up here. That's really cool to hear.
Yeah. And again, I'm a guy who likes Dynamite, though, so I want to make sure that's out there, too. I watch Dynamite every week, and I enjoy it. About 95% of the time, I enjoy Dynamite. I just think Collision is that much better. But
Tidey, you missed the most important thing of the week. Chelsea Green is a champion.
Sonya and Chelsea.
Bro, how do you not bring that up?
Champion, baby.
Sorry, I had
boot him and boot him.
It's on the other side. Sorry. But yeah, Sonya and Chelsea.
Chelsea Green. I think did you see her when she did the Mattel? Oh my God! So Tidey, I don't know. You probably didn't catch this though. Mattel did their wrestling figure reveals. So of course Chelsea Green's married to Matt Cardona, who is the biggest wrestling figure collector in the world.
Hey, you need to go to that.
So she comes out and they introduce her, and she gets mad because they didn't introduce her the same way Samantha Irvin did. She did the whole thing like whoa. You can't just introduce me as Chelsea Green. You have to introduce me as Chelsea Green. She is so good. She is made to be in WWE. It's like she was. Oh my God, she's so phenomenal. Every week there's a new Chelsea Green thing. I still strike three basketball. Like she's so good. She's so good.
To all the people that were mad when she came back, don't forget it was your boy right here that said Chelsea Green gonna be one of the best rehires, hands down, and she's proven it.
Talk about somebody that knows how to make the most with a limited amount of TV time to get herself over. She
reminds me of what Billie Kay was doing right before she left.
Yes.
They give her just a little bit, and then she's like, okay, and then she's made the most of it, and now she's the champion, and it's awesome. It's so cool. I forgot, there was something else he was going to bring. Oh, man, I forgot what it was. I don't remember. So if you got anything else, Tidey, we can go. If not, Albert.
I don't know if WWE is kiting me along because kind of everything I've been wanting has been happening and it's been progressing at just the right time. Like right before I say that you give me one more day and this shit, it happens. One more day of this shit and I'm leaving. Though it happens right before I can even get to that thought. It's kiting me very well. Damn, I'm really happy now, man. I came back into the mood to watch wrestling last week, and I'm so damn happy I did. Took me a minute to catch up on everything, but man,
I know there's a lot, and it's hard to fit it all in. But again, if you're just ever home, give Collision a because it's gonna just add to the just like greatness.
Is it 5 p.m. Eastern time?
For you, it would be 5. Yes.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might be able to help you out though. I'll look into some stuff for you. Albert, I feel like there was something we were going to talk about. It's already slipped my head.
Same here. I feel like we had something to talk about. I'm
gonna look it up. Go ahead with something. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Sure. I'm just gonna throw this out. One thing. I have been singing WWE's praises every week for. I pretty much almost as long as the show's been on. I'm gonna give one example of one thing they've done that they did this week that I'm actually not happy about. Where is Grayson Waller, man? That guy had this banger match against Edge. You want to talk about, I don't like it when you have this great big match against this top guy, and we're all, excited, and then the next week, poof, gone, non-existent.
I'll give you that. I think.
Yeah, where was Grayson Waller this week?
More often, yeah.
I feel like this past SmackDown show, see, I thought this past SmackDown show wasn't that good, and it wasn't because the lack of... Oh, look at that. We got Nick in the chat. What up, Nick? What up, buddy?
Oh, Nick.
It wasn't... I don't know. It was just a weird show this week because there was things that just didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand why Austin Theory was losing to Escobar if we're in the middle of a tournament to crown who's going to face Austin Theory for the United States title SummerSlam weekend. And then Adam Pearce was all like, yeah, you can have a title match. It's like, you're literally discrediting the 2 matches that we've had to set up next week's. It's like, it was kind of sloppy to me.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I'm cool with Butch and Dom. It was a fun match. Dom got his ass whooped. Butch got his offense in. But then he kind of got beat relatively easy, and it kind of made him look a little silly. I thought that was a little...
I do like the multiple distractions. Like, he had to get through Pretty Deadly.
I do like that, but he only took, one... He got thrown into the ring post, and then Dom rolled him up, and that was kind of it. It was kind of like, come on. It wasn't what I've come to expect from a good SmackDown show. That's what I'll say. I'm not saying it was a bad show. It just didn't vibe with me. It was just a weird show. God, what was that thing we were talking about? We literally talked about this morning. It's gone. I don't know what it was.
It's weird because I don't remember either.
Man, because you were shocked when I said it.
Yeah, you're right. It was, oh my God. Hold on. Let me.
Okay, question time while I continue to look real quick because I think I'm about to find it. Do we think Ilja, or I don't even know how to say his first name. Do we think Dragunov dethrones Carmelo Hayes?
I'm a 51-49 guy. 51% chance he's doing it. That's what I think. I think there's a odds are slightly in his favor. Slightly.
Jungle Boy.
There you go.
What?
Jungle Boy.
Oh, that is it. Oh my goodness. Tell me why you like it.
Oh, dude. All right. So first of all, I've been saying since day one, get rid of the name Jungle Boy. It doesn't work for me. He at one point he's gonna have to either be a jungle man or something. And then JR started calling him Jack Perry, and I was like, thank you, JR, for giving me the out to say, hey, at one point he's not gonna be a boy anymore. He's gonna be a man. We got to get rid of this. The vignette that they did, burying what it looked like he was burying his old self in the ring boots that he's the only ring boots he's ever wore in AEW. Like that whole thing was great. And I think it was the time. I think this is it. It's finally, he's getting the choice. The theme song is great. I love everything about his presentation to me this week. To me was just absolutely phenomenal. I'm not a normal, usually Dynamite isn't the show I try to switch on, but I heard a lot of good things about everything going on. The one thing I will say, look, if this is where they're going to go, Jungle Boy is going to be more successful. Jack Perry, I'm sorry, I shouldn't even call him that anymore. Jack Perry is going to be right. Jack Perry is going to be the most successful that he can be right now. The one thing he needs is they got to give him a heater, and he's going to be perfect. I think that'll solidify him. But I love it. I think it's perfect. I'm curious to see why you didn't like it. Okay,
so one, I'm going to sound like a foolish wrestling fan here, but whatever. It's my opinion. Hey. Deal with it. One, I don't think Jungle Boy has the size to play the kind of heel that he's trying to play. I just don't. I know that's a crazy thing. I love Jungle Boy. I really do. I think he's one of the best, most innovative wrestlers in ring today. So this isn't a knock on him. I just don't think he has the size to kind of play the heel that he's playing. Two, I don't think he has the look to play the heel that he's playing. He looks like he's 17 years old. Sorry, that's just a fact. It's not, he don't have charisma. You can't teach charisma, and he can't talk on the mic because he lacks charisma. So how am I supposed to buy him as this heel that he's trying to portray? Because it feels like he's kind of like this arrogant, almost Hollywoodish type heel. Would you say that's kind of
maybe? I don't know. He gave me Brian Kendrick vibes. Remember when he became the Brian Kendrick? That's the vibes he gave me. I may be small in stature, but I'm smart enough in the ring to get to what I need. I think he needs Anna Jay. Anna Jay needs to be a part of his gimmick too, to draw in more heat, because everybody's immediately going to be like, man, here comes this guy again. He's the guy that's dating the woman that we love. I think that would be something else. And give him a big dude. Not Luchasaurus, but give him a big dude too as his backer.
I think Anna Jay is definitely a thing you want to add to him, but I think you need to have a manager with him who's acting as his PR that does all the talking for him. And then he can come in every once in a while, say like a one line. I don't know, something. I don't want to hear him talk, but if he's going to be a good heel, I feel like you have to be good at talking. You got to be good at talking shit to the fans. You got to be able to get them riled up. And nothing he was doing that for me. And it's kind of a shame to see because, again, I like Jungle Boy. I love watching him wrestle. I just was like, bro, you're not selling me on this. And the music, I think, was horrible.
I loved it.
So horrible. Maybe this is all what it's designed to do. Make me just be like, yo, this is garbage. I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. It really doesn't. And it's a shame. I like Jungle Boy. This is a positive. Yeah. Hook's in a feud for something. This is a first. I like Hook, and I think he just needs more reps, and he hasn't been able to get it. So, Brian. So yeah, give him a faction. Put Brian Cage as the muscle. Put Anna Jay as his arm piece, and get him someone who can run their mouth.
It's a shame that the one guy that would really be perfect for him is the guy he probably hates the most. Because how great would Christian be as the guy?
Maybe he goes back to it.
Yeah, it's a possibility, right? And then Christian builds a stable as hey, I'm a half of the FTW champion too.
And just a little shout out to Christian Cage too. He hit a one-liner last night. So Tidey, Luchasaurus is the TNT champion. Christian Cage is carrying the title around. He's calling himself the champion. And it's funny because even on the roster page, it shows TNT champion, Luchasaurus. He don't have the belt. I think Christian Cage picture, he has the belt. So it's absolutely hilarious what they're doing. He refers to himself as the champion. But CM Punk on the first night had a red bag, and basically his world title is in there because he never lost it. And Christian Cage came out this week and goes, Punk, what kind of man walks around with a title that they didn't even win? And it's like, You are kidding me right now.
That's hilarious.
These lines of
Thing
That's
ever.
great. That's gold.
He's so good.
Maybe at the end of the day, Jungle Boy just needs to grow on me. I don't know. It just was not clicking for me on Wednesday at all. Man, that was not clicking. Also, Impact. I watched Impact again this week too, everybody. So I'm giving everything. Wrestling's is really good right now.
It is. It is. I mean, I watched Dynamite this week. You know, it's not a normal thing for me to do, but you know, there was a couple of things. Look, Adam Cole and MJF to me is just making me watch Dynamite. They're just making me watch Dynamite. I can't not watch Dynamite because I want to see Adam Cole and MJF.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to find the clips and send them to you, Tidey, because MJF and Adam Cole are doing some of the most entertaining things you'll ever see in wrestling. They're like buddy-buddy.
No, that would work.
Yeah, no, it's working.
It's so good.
Yeah,
they are awesome together. They're because they're like they didn't want to be together. They got put together through like they pulled names out of a basket and they got put together for a tournament. And they're like, we just wrestled each other. They hate each other. But then after the second week, they're like, well, you know, we are kind of cool with each other. So it's fun. I'm gonna find them and send them to you. It's really, really, really good. This isn't a bad idea, Nick, and this is why I love you, bro. Christian, it's hilarious. Collision's just so good. I'm
really is.
One more time before we bounce out. But with that, this is the time of the show where we all say our goodbyes. So Albert, I'll let you go first. Let them know what you need. Let them know what they need to know.
So usually this has been the point for the past couple of weeks where I've been plugging my channel and saying I had something new up. But this week I didn't get to do a video because I was filming all day Saturday.
You can still go watch it.
Oh, but there's going to be a new video posted, if not tomorrow, by Tuesday. So if you just because it didn't come out doesn't mean you ain't going to get, you're going to go a week without content. I'm going to deliver for you guys. So go to the Slam Sessions, check it out, the Slam Sessions Network on YouTube. And I appreciate it if you like and subscribe.
Absolutely. And put that notification bell on so when he has to do it on a different day because he's busy with his real life, you won't miss it a few days later. That's what I got to say about that. And then Nick brings up another good point. Absolutely. And I'm going to go ahead and just spit this. I know I said we're ending the show, but I want to get this tidbit out too because I was thinking about it. Adam Cole has ties to Jay White. The tag team match that is happening on Collision next week with Adam Cole and MJF for the tag titles against FTR. Jay White and I always get these mixed up. Bullet Club Gold are feuding with FTR. So everything is intertwined here and makes perfect sense for Bullet Club Gold to attack everybody. Adam Cole joins Bullet Club Gold and MJF is the babyface. Adam Cole is the heel. Give it to me, inject it into my veins. I want it and I want it bad. Baby, that.
Could that lead to a babyface pinnacle?
Give it to me, baby. No, Dax will not work with Max. That is not ever going to happen ever again. He hates him.
I know, but you know what? How great would that be?
Yeah. But Tidey, you got anything you'd like to say to everybody before we bounce, other than they need to go watch the Barbie movie?
Yeah. We get a lot of joy from entertainment. That is wrestling, anime, video games, TV shows, damn Netflix and Hulu. It's like everybody has that. Yeah, that's a really big part of what people do. They work and they get some entertainment in that sense. We get joy from entertainment. Like people can't forget to get joy from just people. It would be nice if people can't go out and everybody's gonna hate on Dom right now. He's just another person, dude. I mean, like he's just a person, just like any one of us. I bet you he watches. But there's joy in entertainment, but I'm just saying there is, if not real joy comes from doing that with people. So don't hate Dom. He's a person, you bastards.
He's a person just like y'all, man.
That's right.
Give Dom a break, man. Why do we all
just because he went to prison doesn't mean you have the right to be rude to him.
Why can't we be happy with seeing somebody be successful? Come on.
Yeah.
Doing something he likes. And he's hanging out with Rhea. Give him a break.
I forgot to bring it up. I know everyone doesn't like nepotism, but again, the fact that Dom isn't a problem and the fact that everyone likes him backstage tells you that maybe nepotism shouldn't be something we hold against this kid.
Hey, Seth likes him. That's good news.
Yeah. Seth co-signed him, so give it to him and stop hating on my boy Dom. You can hate him because he's got the girl y'all want. You can hate him because he's a champion, but don't hate him because you think he's trash. He's literally getting better. It doesn't happen overnight. And for anybody who thinks he hasn't been trained, Jay Lethal helped train this kid. So he's been trained. He's a trained professional, just like everyone else. He's just not speed with everyone
whatever.
else.
His dad's the greatest luchador in the history of pro wrestling. I don't care. That's better than a wrestling school.
Jay Lethal and Rey Mysterio is the guys training you. You're probably going to be all right. I'm going to take this off because what time is it? It's time for me to tell y'all that y'all need to remember, just enjoy wrestling. That really, just enjoy it. I'm not going to hit you with this clobbering time. It's just, you need to enjoy wrestling, everybody. That's all I got to say. Like, it's just too damn good right now. We are in a boom. Whether people want to admit it, we are in a boom because it's really good. I'm starting to see it everywhere. I'm seeing Danhausen shirts at the gas station. That's crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy to me. So, yes, he has. He really, really has. And he's leaned. He's gotten leaner. Like, it's ridiculous. I need to just, we don't need to talk about Dom anymore. I get mad about it. I'm getting mad about it. But yes, everybody, please just remember, just enjoy wrestling. And we will see you back here next week. I got to think about that real quick. Next week, yes, I will see you back next week. And I'm sure we'll be talking about SummerSlam, baby. Because I think that's that week. So yeah.
On the horizon, yep.
We're going to be talking about SummerSlam. So everybody, goodbye. Thank you for joining. And if you're new to the show, make sure you subscribe, like, share with everybody because we're here to have a good time and we'd like everybody to join us. But yes, that's the show. And again, I'm saying it for the millionth time. Just enjoy wrestling, everybody. Please. That's why we're all here.